So, listen to this. Everyone is losing their minds over Lamine Yamal right now. And yeah, fair enough. The kid is special. But when people act like we've never seen anything like this before, one thought immediately comes to mind. Have you all already forgotten about teenage Mbappé? I mean, come on. You could genuinely argue that Mbappé was even better back then than he is now. At just 17, mostly coming off the bench, he racked up 40 goal contributions, one every 65 minutes. Meanwhile, Yamal, he's averaging one every 141. And let's not forget, while one has yet to win any major silverware, the other practically dragged Monaco to a Champions League final. He tormented that PSG super team so badly that they panicked, spent 180 million euros to sign him, and immediately reclaimed every single domestic trophy. And just when you thought that was impressive enough, he made it all seem trivial by going out with France and delivering the greatest World Cup performance by a teenager since Pelé in 1958. Look, Yamal still has time to change the narrative, and I hope he does. But as of now, let's be real, Mbappé remains the single greatest wonder kid Europe has seen in the 21st century. I don't think some of you truly grasp just how insane his rise was. When he was 14, he had a school assignment to design a magazine cover. While his classmates slapped random celebrities on theirs, Mbappé recreated Time magazine's layout, put himself on the cover, and wrote "the best young player in the world." That wasn't just a dream, that was his plan from day one. People see Mbappé as this clean-cut, disciplined star, but his background is far from easy. He grew up in Bondy, one of the roughest areas in Paris. At just 7 years old, he watched as 3 weeks of riots set his neighborhood ablaze. 8,000 cars burned, 3,000 people arrested. The only escape from that chaos, football. And one name people often forget in his journey, Jires Kembo Ekoko. Ekoko, the son of John Kembo, a two-time AFCON champion, had to flee the instability in his homeland and ended up in France, where Mbappé's father took him in like his own son. He climbed the ranks, played for Stade Rennais, and even repped the French U21s. Watching his older brother figure dominate was all the proof young Kylian needed. This was possible. So he followed the path. By 11, he was already being flown to London to visit Chelsea's academy, where he met Didier Drogba and Carlo Ancelotti. But when Chelsea came calling for a second trial, his mother had one response. If you want him, sign him now. In 5 years, you'll be paying 50 million euros. She wasn't wrong. At 14, despite interest from Liverpool, City, and Bayern, the only club that truly had his heart was Real Madrid. And even though his parents had no intention of letting him sign, they let him visit as a birthday gift. Imagine being a kid from Bondy, stepping off a plane and seeing Zidane, Nachinasan's Zidane waiting for you at the airport. He was so stunned that when Zidane opened the car door for him, he asked if he should take his shoes off first. Then came the real fairy tale, meeting Ronaldo, the idol whose posters were on his bedroom wall, suddenly standing right in front of him. In his own words, he couldn't stop thinking, "I'm just Kylian from Bondy. This can't be real." But reality was already in motion. At 14, AS Monaco, a club that had just splashed millions on Falcao and James Rodriguez, took a gamble on a teenager. 2 years later, that gamble looked like pure genius. Within 3 weeks of joining the reserve squad, he was already making his first team debut, breaking Thierry Henry's record as Monaco's youngest ever player. 8 days later, he was playing in the Europa League against Tottenham. By February, he had his first senior goal, another Henry record shattered. Even Arsène Wenger, years later, admitted, "The first time I saw him play, I just wrote down, he is Pelé." And things were only getting started. Monaco let him drop back into the under-19 for the final rounds of the Gambardella Cup. He tore through defenders, scored in the semis, and put on a masterclass in the final, assisting the opener, scoring a brace, and securing Monaco's first Gambardella trophy in 50 years. That summer, he carried France to under-19 Euros glory, making his Monaco performances look tame by comparison. Dribbling past keepers, scoring screamers, tearing defenses apart, he was inevitable. But here's the real kicker. At the start of the following season, despite Mbappe's obvious talent, Monaco's manager Leonardo Jardim kept him on the bench. For 2 months, he barely got minutes. But when they finally let him loose against Montpellier, he flipped the game on its head, winning a penalty, scoring, assisting, and orchestrating a 6-2 demolition. And yet, Jardim still wasn't convinced. So 2 weeks later, they gave him 26 minutes against Nancy. He came on and within 60 seconds, scored. By full time, Monaco had turned a routine win into a 6-0 obliteration. 2 weeks later, another start, another goal, another assist, another 5-0 win, and still, Jardim hesitated. So Mbappé responded with a hat-trick against Rennes. That was the moment everything changed. Over the next few months, he went from promising talent to one of the deadliest players on the planet. Goals, assists, jaw-dropping performances, week in, week out. By the time Monaco faced Manchester City in the Champions League, Pep Guardiola could only shake his head in disbelief. 35 minutes in, with Mbappé dancing past Bakary Sagna like his feet were stuck to the ground, he fired in a half volley and became the second youngest Frenchman to score in a UCL knockout match. And in the second leg, 7 minutes in, another goal. He started the comeback that knocked City out. In the quarter-finals against Dortmund, he was even more ruthless. A brace in the first leg, another in the second. 5 Champions League knockout goals, something no one had ever done in their first 4 games. Then came Juventus in the semis. Despite facing Europe's best defense, he was Monaco's only goal scorer before they bowed out. That season, Mbappé didn't just shine, he carried PSG. Their dynasty in jeopardy had spent the final stretch of the season in full comeback mode, winning 12 of their last 15 games. But Monaco, they went one better. They won 14, drew once, and lost 0. Mbappé, playing over 45 minutes in 16 of those games, unbeaten. By season's end, he had 20 goals and 5 assists in his last 24 matches. His goal contribution rate won every 65 minutes. For comparison, that same year, Cristiano Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or with a goal contribution every 78 minutes. So yeah, the result, simple. He became the youngest player called up to the French national team since 1955. He won Ligue 1's Young Player of the Year. And then, of course, came the bidding war. Barcelona wanted him to replace Neymar. Wenger tried to lure him to Arsenal. Real Madrid, the supposed dream club, offered 180 million euros. But instead, Mbappé chose to stay in France. He picked PSG, the club that once feared him, to be the supporting act to Neymar's 220 million euro move. And by January, he was already at 52 goal contributions for the year, the youngest player ever to crack the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or. The kid from Bondy had arrived. However, I would like to know your opinion on who is the best Mbappé or Lamine Yamal. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next one.